Hi, and welcome to We Share TV with Rio and Friends. Today, I am speaking to three well-known influencers on the Dubai scene. They're content creators, they're parents, they have their niches, and we're going to be talking about what it is really like to create content in the UAE. So let's get started, shall we? Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Let's delve into how you got into influencing. Tell us a bit more about yourselves, your names, where you're from, and what your content creation is all about.
My name's Charlotte, aka Far From Fat. I got into content creation absolutely by accident.
Yeah.
I'd lost a lot of weight. I needed a bit of a nip and a tuck, tailor the body slightly. It was a closed Instagram. And then I suddenly felt quite brave about it one day and decided to open it up. My head wasn't in it, just my body.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget my husband going, "Oh my God, I've seen this girl. She looks just like you on Instagram." I was like, that's me. And it just went from there, really. And I think that plastic surgery was such a taboo back then. I mean, we're talking kind of 11, 12 years ago. And it really shouldn't be. Like, if you want to grow, you want to improve yourself, you want to feel better, or just do what makes you feel happy, then that's kind of where it came from, to be honest. Just out of the blue.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really like your content, actually, because you're very honest and very real about the process of everything that you go through. Whereas I feel like, not naming names, but sometimes people can, they're not as transparent. And I think that garners a lot of respect. We'll get into that a bit later. Anupa, would you like to tell us a bit more about yourself?
All right, so I'm Anupa and my blog's name is Saffron Bowl. I've been in Dubai for 22 years now. Started off as an F&B marketing person and gradually progressed into me getting out of traditional marketing and getting into the digital frame. So what I had to do, of course, was dabble with social media. And while I was doing that, I also cook. I've been cooking from age 9. So I launched my own recipe blog, and it's called the Saffron Bowl, and I put out very healthy recipes. So it was me on Instagram posting my recipe pictures and all of the foodscapes. And what happened eventually was I was approached by a very big hypermarket here. It's very well known. And that's where I met other influencers. And well, we were not even called influencers at that point. I think we were just bloggers. And that's got the ball rolling for me. And now it's a lot of F&B collabs for me, whether it is a restaurant, whether it is putting out some recipe reel, like it could be a basmati rice, or, I'm very much into Korean cooking now. That's because it's the trend and my kids
It's a big thing now, isn't it?
It is.
All the Korean, the kids love the Korean lifestyle and vibe.
I'm just hoping we get an invite.
Yeah. Can you get us an invite, please?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's got me rolling as far as content creation is concerned. And yeah, it was very natural and very organic for me. It's not something, and I never envisioned myself as an influencer. That's the last thing, because I was handling influencer management,
Right.
That's what I was doing for my brands. I was working with several brands and I was managing influencers myself. And that's the last thing I thought, that I would also become an influencer. But yeah, here I am.
So it wasn't an intentional step. You kind of
Not
just,
really.
It naturally evolved into that lifestyle.
Yes.
And yourself, was it intentional? Was it like an accident?
Yeah, definitely an accident, but a kind of, I suppose I was curious about it, I would say, as I started it off. So started off, I'm Helly, mum of 3 from Ireland. Started this off because I wanted, I suppose, a platform. Really, I was being a bit lazy. I didn't want to be the person 12 years ago when I moved here, so not as long as Anupa, but 12 years ago when I moved here, I didn't want to be the person that sent out an email to all the different family members with a group of photos and, here's what we did this week, or, just trying to keep in contact with family, I guess. So created the Instagram account thinking, okay, I'll just have the people that I know following me from back home. So friends and family from either Australia or Ireland. And then people started kind of following. And I was that person, I must admit, that checked who was following me. So every time I got a few followers, I'd check their accounts and see, all right, do I feel comfortable with them following me? And then it just kind of evolved from that, sharing what we do in Dubai, places we like to go and eat or explore. I would have thought that I was one of these people that didn't like to go somewhere and then not go back again. I'd only post about the place if I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think I've just tried to continue that along.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason, again, why I like your content as well. And I think you got quite a, being Irish, obviously, you've got a big Irish following as well. So you were recently at a big event, were you?
Yeah, so there's huge, I suppose there's such a big Irish community here in Dubai, as is so many different nationalities, which is great. But when we first moved here, I think there was around the 5,000 mark, and now there's 25,000 Irish in Dubai. So we really, like, if we're not at the Dubai Irish football or the Dubai Rogue, which is like GA Irish football and hurling, or as you said, the big event on Saturday was a big Irish dancing community. And I remember going to that 12 years ago when we first got here, and there was probably 15 children. And then there was people flown in from, different GCC countries. Whereas now there was probably 300 people in the room ready to dance just from Dubai. So it just shows how big it, just took off.
Yeah. So you've all kind of, you've got your niches, I would say. You've carved niches for yourself. But, I mean, you two are sort of more lifestyle. You're very, very food orientated. Do you feel that these days, I think you're like OGs, right? You've been doing this for a while, yeah? But do you think these days, people like intentionally want to become influencers? So they have a full-on marketing plan execution. They have agencies that create content for them. Because they want to start making money immediately. And you know what? Fair play, right? Yeah. To me, I think it's a job in itself.
If you're ballsy enough to try it,
fair play. But I asked on my Instagram, what questions do you want me to ask? People are very curious about the money side of things, right? They want to know, do you make money from your account? And if so, how long did it take you to start making money? And also, how do you balance that, how would you say it, morals, right? If a brand comes to you and they're willing to pay you quite a bit of money, but it doesn't align with you and your morals. I know there are influencers who doesn't matter. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a full-time job. So for me, I think the joy is that my Instagram has always been a hobby and something that I love and something that I enjoy doing. So the minute that someone comes to me with something that I don't like, or it doesn't align, or I don't like the people that are doing it, or their ethics, absolutely not for me at all.
You're done, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, same with me. I'm very firm. Agencies know that. Agencies know very well that I don't do junk food. I'm not interested. I get no fun out of pushing a burger or a pizza out there.
So you're not going to go in
No.
try the best pizza burger in town?
Early in my career as a content creator, it was a lot of no's from my side because, I was just newly getting into all of these restaurant reviews, and at that time there would be a fried chicken approaching me and I had to...
Literal fried chicken approaching you.
Fried chicken brand or pizza, and I had to be very firm in a very diplomatic way saying that, this doesn't align with what I represent, but that doesn't mean I'm going out only to a fine dining spot. No, I love the small spots in Dubai. I love the OG spots, and it doesn't have to be paid. In fact, I love pushing out that somebody has opened up a small business out of their own passion, because obviously they have a limited budget. And for me, I am willing to showcase that place because I know I can figure out from the way they convey, they project things, I know it's going to be good. So it could be like a 10 dirham shawarma or whatever it is. I'm willing to try and experiment as long as it aligns with my ethics.
But I think you touched on something interesting there where you said it's not always about the money. I always think there's this preconception where everybody thinks you're getting paid to do
Everything,
and share everything. And I can honestly tell you there is probably maybe 5% or maybe even 10% of what I share
Is paid.
has been paid. 9 times out of 10 it's something I love, somewhere I've been, something I've bought, something, you know, someone's given me, something that's just funny and I think, God, that'd be so funny to do that. Or it's a barter deal. I'll give you this if you share it. So, okay, I'll take it. And if I like it, then I'll share it. But if not, no. I don't think there's as much money in it as people really think there is. Or maybe I'm just doing a really bad job.
Absolutely that. And I agree with what you just said there. It's also that you might say, right, we'll do this on a barter deal. But equally, if you turn up to a place, say, for example, a restaurant, I'm sure, because we've all done that. And if the restaurant perhaps wasn't somewhere that you would recommend, I'll always prefer to pay at that given moment. Just be like, do you know what?
Because you don't want to feel that pressure to put the content.
No. And then I'll always message afterwards, and just give the kind of my feedback of why perhaps I didn't want to share that restaurant at that time, you know? And it doesn't mean that like those restaurants then sometimes will be like, invite you back in another few months' time. And they might have changed all the things and upped their game and, you know, and it's great. But I agree. It's best, honesty is the best.
And I think if you're, you know, like if you're coming from a genuine place, you want the best for the brands that you're working with or who have invited you. And if you've had a negative experience, they need to know. Like,
I think to be honest, for me, it's even more a selfish thing. It's not even about the brands for me. It's about my own brand. So if I'm going to tell you to go somewhere that is absolute rubbish or the service is really bad,
why are you
following me? Because I'm just then become a walking advert. I'm not interested.
Exactly. And I mean, again, like it's just, I feel like you can tell the influencers that are walking ads and will take anything. But I think, you know, following all of you guys, you can tell that there's that authenticity there. I remember we had a chat ages ago when your nanny won a room makeover.
Yeah, she did.
I love her.
Yeah. Oh, it was lovely. Yeah. But I come from more of like a traditional media background where we have like we're publications, so we do barters, we do ads, we sell ads. But even when I was doing that with my bosses, I was like, I don't feel comfortable. I used to work on a green magazine, Be Green. I don't feel comfortable working with that brand because I know that they're greenwashing, like they're lying. Do you know what I mean? So the ethics spread across everywhere. But neither of you answered my question. How long was it until you got your first paycheck?
Oh my gosh.
From a brand, and how did that feel?
So I think it took time for me. Okay. Usually how it starts is they give you vouchers and things, but the actual payment, it's very recent. I'll be very honest with you, because I'm careful about what I do, especially when it is a paid content, because I'm very careful about the brief. You know, I make sure everything is aligned, and I need to project it out because there are people out there who understand me, who understand and value my credibility. I'm not the kind of food blogger who says every single reel of mine is a hidden gem. No, I don't use that word hidden gem unless I really mean it. And 9 out of 10 times, all of my collabs are, regarding certain brands which are launching new restaurants, and they're not a hidden gem the minute you launched. It's ridiculous that you put out content. There are people out there who do put out content, because when you say hidden gem, you know, people are kind of, enticed.
That's the hook,
yeah, that's the hook. But I'm very careful as far as that's concerned. That's why when it comes to any kind of paid collab, it has to be aligned, whether it is a food product or a grocery. I need to make sure it ticks all my boxes before I put it out to my, customers and all of the people, the target audience out there. So it's very important that we do that, because people are looking at us, and we're not like these, let's say, film, let's say you've got a Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's putting something for Lancome. It's not possible that
But she's also getting paid millions of dollars, darling.
But as a content creator, you really go and dine there. You really have to use that product, and you are putting out your real experience. That's the main thing, and that's why you get that credibility. People do respect what you're doing there, as long as you're honest.
I like gatekeep a little bit. I know that's bad, but I don't, like I said, I'm not an influencer, but what I do is I post stuff because I don't want stuff ruined. I don't want my favourite hidden gem
that
ruined.
I don't post if I love it.
Yeah, because like Maison 15, for example, was always my hidden gem.
Oh, yes.
I put it on the foodie group and they reported back and they were like, bloody hell, like, I'm sorry. They're like, overnight, what's happened? And I put it on his food group.
Yeah.
And then I posted it and everyone was like, where is that? Where is that? Where is that? And I was like, DM me, fine, I'll share it that way.
Yeah.
Then I saw some influencer post it and like overnight, every time I went, I couldn't sit down and eat at my favourite place. And I think it's great for the brands.
Yeah.
But I struggle with that a little bit, you know?
I do. My lash lady, no one's knowing her name.
Yeah, because
If I can't get an appointment, I'm just going to be raging.
I must admit, I was same scenario there. Somebody put on a lovely Facebook group, a beauty one, about their favourite lash artist, and it was my lash artist, and I was like, absolutely no way. I was like, no, nearly wrote underneath, she's shocking, don't go.
I've got another opinion, actually. Maybe you should go to this person.
Yeah.
That is true. That is so true.
And you're right about the hidden gems. Like, I do feel like if a restaurant's open within, you know, say for example, it's a week old or it's 12 weeks old, it's not a hidden gem. A hidden gem is I'm sure we've all been there. So obviously this is not, shout out or it's nothing at all because I don't even think they do that. But like in the Old Creek Dubai Arabian tea house, like if I wanted to bring anyone, I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's the perfect spot to bring people, but it's not hidden anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would call it a gem of Dubai, like for sure, you know? Hidden gems, they've been there for a while and you're just kind of sneaking on in and, you know.
And they're the kind of places they don't push out themselves in social media. It's more of the word of mouth, which goes around. That's what a hidden gem is.
Exactly. And I don't think that one, for example, I don't even know, are they on social media? Do you know what I mean? So it's those kind of ones, the restaurants that you're like, I wouldn't have known it was there. And I'm glad I fell upon it kind of thing.
It's very popular with the locals as well. I always say anywhere that's popular with the locals is usually good. But that leads, I guess we've kind of answered the question, but that was going to lead me on to what do you think are some of the most common misconceptions about being influencers in this region?
I think the funniest thing is those that you would like, even now it makes me cringe when you say influencer. Like I don't think of I know that we are, but I seriously don't think of myself as an influencer.
An influencer, yeah.
Like,
I don't know whether to say
I will
content
always,
creator or influencer.
like, I don't feel like I'm like talking about myself. I don't feel like I'm curated. I don't really put much effort into making my content look pretty. Yeah. I don't really manage my P's and Q's. So it always makes me...
That's why we love you.
But then that always makes me laugh. I'm like, oh, influencer, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
That is a bit weird.
And meanwhile, everything you put up, I'm like, adds to cart.
Yeah.
Must add this, thank you.
This is the thing, like I am that person who's like, I don't get influenced by anything. But you influenced me. I brought stuff that she has worn. Actually, it's a lot of your clothes. Like, remember the spotty dress?
Oh, I love
I went
that
and
dress.
bought that straight away. You know, there's some that just have this, I don't know what it is. And I usually think I'm not influenced, but clearly I am. So you are an influencer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Own it, girl. Own it.
That's purely because she's doing something in a most natural and passionate way.
Yeah.
But I think because you're not relying on it as well, I think there's
Exactly.
a difference. It doesn't have to be forced. Whereas I guess if your pay packet and your bills, and that's fine,
Yeah.
rely on it at the end of the month.
You can
there's
tell.
There's a big difference there, right?
Yeah. And neither of you rely on your income or your deals from your platforms, right? You've either got jobs or whatever part. Yeah, so you don't rely on it, marketing. So, okay. And do you think there's any common misconceptions then about doing this?
Of course.
Yeah, what are they?
Paid well, we have teams behind us.
They think that everything that we show on Instagram or the TikTok that's going on is our real life.
Yeah.
No, it's just 1% of what we're doing. I don't put out much about my family. It's purely brands or my recipes and things like that. And a lot of people think that, oh, she's out dining every day at a new place and, know, it's all very glamorous. No, it's not very glamorous because I end up eating cold food. You know,
that's true.
I go there. First of all, I need to capture the ambience. I need to capture everything about the venue to put out that content.
Exactly,
And then the food comes in.
Yeah.
45 minutes goes for each and every dish coming in, and that's when we finally sit down and eat, and it's cold food. There's really nothing, you know, exciting about cold food, and the entire journey finishes when you go and start editing, and then you put out the reel, and it's a lot.
It's time consuming. It's like even with Bride Club, when I go, you know, I post up, oh, I've been to India or Jaipur or this, and everyone's like, you live such a glamorous life, you're always traveling. Yeah, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm truly grateful for that. But what they don't see is the behind the scenes, that I am having to curate all of this content and make sure I'm getting the flower display and make sure I'm getting this. And sometimes, or like on a review, a staycation, I just want to enjoy the staycation. I don't want to film it.
I'd rather pay for it.
I'd rather pay for it. And I often throw little hissy fits with my husband. I'm like, you're not even an Instagram husband. You won't even take content while I have to do everything. I'm like,
permanent route.
Why have you taken the photo looking like that?
Yeah.
poor sod, you know, really. But I'm like, this is work for me. It's work. You guys can enjoy it. You're coming along for the ride. I actually have to, you know, so sometimes that annoys me. But at the same time,
I think another
Grateful.
misconception, I don't know if you get this, but another misconception is that we're all so rich.
yeah.
We're so rich. And the amount of times I get messages going, I don't
You
know
get
how you
that,
can
don't you?
afford this.
Yeah.
What about everybody else? And that's when you have to take a step back and you go, I am very fortunate, but I also work really bloody hard. I
yeah.
have a full-time job. I work
I would
every hour
see
that God
that on
sends
your page,
with a
though.
salary. It's not just me posting my, but because I don't share a lot
Share
about
that.
my job,
Yeah.
because I keep that very, very separate.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the corporate world, I don't want a mix of the
You
two.
don't want to mix
it's
it.
not professional.
Yeah.
But I think then it gives that perception, good old
That you're
Instagram
just
perception, that I'm just
Money just
swanning
falls on your
about.
lap.
Yeah. I wish it did.
Yeah.
That Instagram is paying for everything.
Yeah.
It's far from the truth, actually.
It's paying for a happy meal.
And you've recently embraced TikTok.
Oh my
Right?
God, yeah. I don't even
Are
know
you
why I
ladies on
bothered.
TikTok? You're on TikTok. I follow you. You're not
I only
TikTok.
started this week.
Oh, I just think it's so. Do you know what? It's my guilty pleasure. I feel like lately, and I don't, you know, somebody can jump in as well, that I feel like Instagram is not my work. Before I say it's work, it is a bit of work. There's editing, there's thinking, there's, you know, I do just every now and then just throw up whatever I want, but then there's also thought process behind it, also for the paid things. But it isn't my work. I actually have a job outside of Instagram as well, so therefore it's not my moneymaker. You know what I mean? If it makes a bit, that's amazing. But what I do then is I feel like sometimes I put Instagram down and then I'll click into TikTok because I just feel like it's really fun there. I love watching people on TikTok. I'm like, you know, and I'm there watching some New Yorkan lady eat caviar in New York, or I'm watching some lady set up a house full of cats and what she does. It's so random, the things I'm watching, and I'm like, why am I even watching this? I'm watching a whale get cleaned.
Oh, that was me last week with the barnacles.
That's what it is.
Literally being scraped off a whale, and it's actually really relaxing. And I'd say if people saw what I was watching, they'd be like, what
are you watching?
It's like an escapism though,
It
right?
is. It's escapism.
TikTok is pretty wild and free, whereas Instagram is very curated.
Curated. Yeah. I think with TikTok, like I embraced it during COVID, and I was doing the weirder side of me, like the funny accent.
I loved it, Rio. Keep that coming. I loved it.
But then obviously COVID stopped, and I was like, this is not right for me to just continue doing this, so I stopped. But recently there's been a pull. Like, you know, I want to go on TikTok, but I want to go on there and rant a little bit about these silly videos that really annoy me. You know, recently I shared one. It's this guy in like an old uniform with a cigar, and he's like, I'd rather be in Europe than fake Dubai, with this music in the
Oh,
background.
there's a guy that does lots of these. He really irritates
And I'm
me.
like, I want to go on TikTok and explain, like, stop reading the Daily Fail.
Yeah.
But I keep holding myself back because, and I'll get to this,
You'll end up on the
I know that I will garner a lot of comments and hate, and people like, you know, suddenly berating me for sticking up for Dubai, and I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know, I'm sensitive. I don't know if I can handle that, but at the same time, I want to.
Do
you
it.
know? Yeah. I want to, because like, who are you? Do you know what I mean? So how do you guys, and I know not all of you get trolls all the time, but when you've got negative comments, trolls, how do you handle that?
I give as good as I get. I name and shame, pop them up on the gram. Let's see how you like it.
Yeah, love it.
I've got skin like a rhino. Honestly, doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I get a lot. I mean, there's a lot of like half naked pictures, right? With like leg scars or arm scars or boob scars or whatever it might be. So you're always going to attract that kind of negativity.
But why do people, what's negative about that? Like, why, what have they got to say about that?
I think it comes from lots of different areas. I think you'll get those certain people that wish that they could have done certain things and they can't.
And you trigger something in them.
I think you've got people that don't understand what it's like to lose like 70 kilos and be left with all this loose skin, and they're kind of like, why is she doing that to her body? You've got those people that then think, you know, your Dubai's version of like Joan Rivers, good, I'm all over that. Like, there's a million different, own it, definitely am. Yeah. Probably had more than her, to be fair. But I think there's lots of different reasons that people come to you. And then you just get people that are just very sad people, leading very sad lives, and they're just mirroring their own insecurities and feelings.
I think when you're quite open,
you have to feel sorry for them.
You do. When you're like out there, you trigger a lot of people. And I think, especially when you're shining and you're bright, and you're vivacious or whatever it is that you are, it triggers something in other people, because either they wish they could be like that, or they're broken, they've got something going on at home and they're just taking it out on you. But what brought me on to you is you did a post recently on your stories, right? Yeah. Where you were like, remind me what it was. You were
so it was basically
content creators. Basically.
Absolutely. It is a job, and it is disappointing when restaurants approach you saying, you know what, you can come and we'll give you free food or a food voucher, and you know, and they'll give you a massive list of deliverables, you know, and that kind of takes you aback, because sometimes, most of the times, in fact, they are well-known brands. They have budgets for marketing.
Sometimes it's actually the bigger brands that are worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and then it goes back and forth. And for me, the red flag is free food or complimentary food, if you want to put it even more delicately. I'm not interested in your complimentary food. I've been doing it for so many years, and I cook myself, of course. So it's, you know, there's a very nice and polite way to do things, and they think that content creators are basically desperate. Because, you know, there's this whole, you know, FOMO business. So you want everyone to be, you know, pushing out content. No, that's not the truth. If a person like me, who's been consistently doing a kind of a niche, I am very careful what I put out. And if the brand has a certain way of talking to me, I know the random customer who's going to walk in is not going to have the best experience. So I would rather skip. You know, I would rather skip, because it is a journey. It starts from us, you know, putting out stories, putting out the reel, getting ready, going to the venue, paying for the taxi, sometimes paying 50 dirhams to your valet, isn't it?
And
you know,
obviously tipping the restaurant as well. Like,
absolutely.
Well, sometimes they'll even say, well, you can come and you can have a dessert and a main course, but maybe you get there and you want a starter. So then you end up paying, well, I'll pay for the starter, and maybe you have a +1, but sometimes you want to go with another couple. So it's like, well, I'll pay for the other two, but not the +1. So actually, by the time you've done it all, when then you think of all the content you've got to do, I don't know about you,
might as well
think,
just paid for
I just can't actually be bothered.
Yeah, that's exactly, and you might as well have paid for it, because you kind of look at your what is your time worth? What is the value on your hour or your 2 hours? You know what I mean? And I think that's probably a misconception as well. People don't realize how many hours goes into something, and then sometimes, like, I mean, I know we were saying about husbands not taking content or whatever, but I do think, like, we've just gone past Valentine's Day. And sometimes then people are like, oh, they just went out for dinner because they got that for free. Or, you know what I mean? You're like, well, actually, no. Like, sometimes we just like to go out. He actually brought me out.
Could you believe it? Oh, my God. But we were talking earlier on our Zoom. You know, Charlotte was like, I'm more thick-skinned. And you were like, well, sorry, but I'm not. I'm more sensitive. How do you deal with, like, I know you don't get a lot of
Do you know what? I don't get a lot of hate. I'm very, very lucky, but every now and then you just you get some, don't you? You know what I mean? And it is sometimes it's easy enough to be like, well, that's a ridiculous comment, and just delete it and move on. Don't even bring it up. But then sometimes you're like, oh, why did they think that now? Or I suppose the sensitive side of me, the sensitive side of me would question myself. 50% of my body knows that's absolutely irrational. I don't even know why you're looking at it. And the other 50% is there like, oh, maybe you are doing that, and maybe, you know, you shouldn't be doing it. Or, you know, especially when it comes to like kids, if they bring up anything to do with children, like, you know, it's, you know, perhaps bad to be showing kids faces and AI and all these things. And I totally appreciate all this, but I also appreciate that everybody has to have their own stance on these things. And, you know, currently my kids are okay with it, and they enjoy the fun of it, and they enjoy what it brings us. So that's fine with me at the moment. If any given moment they turned around and said, no, I'm just not loving this anymore, then of course it would just stop. You know what I mean? So, so I suppose there's ways and means of how I feel like I share so much with my followers as well. I'm very honest. And if they ask questions in the background about, like, you know, where would you recommend going? And these are the age groups of my children. And if I come back to them, I want to be completely honest back. Go here because I think your children of this age would love it. However, maybe don't bring the smallie to that one. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we put so much time and effort into it that if somebody comes back then with negative feedback, you're almost like hurt.
You feel responsible because you put it out there, and but then, you know, I will often see, you know, celebrities talking about this. They're like, I'm not responsible for what happens to you. Like, I provide something and you make the decision as to whether you want to attend, and you might have a different experience, you know?
I mean, but there's a difference between a celebrity and an influencer. The celebrity is not approachable. We are approachable. They're going to DM you. They're going to go, you know, stalking every single reel if they're angry with you. So we have a responsibility because we're trying to project everything as much as possible. You know, the good, the bad, you name it, we have to put out everything. And regarding trolling, or I've not seen too much, but I can tell you I've had a strange experience of another influencer stealing my content. So and it was something as simple as a home delivery review. Okay, it was a very nice Arabic restaurant, and I take little effort to do a little bit of food styling, and I happened to notice 2 weeks after I posted my, you know, it was a static post. Somebody else had just lifted every single picture of mine, removed the watermark and posted. And it was very familiar because it was my plates and, you know, my crockery. And
but that's not influencing. That's fakery.
Approached her, and I approached her and told her, you need to delete this because this is mine. But she replied saying, you know, I've got more followers than you. So yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, people.
So anyway, it went back and forth, and I told her I'll report you to the brand, and obviously, and I have a feeling she was paid for it. You see, she was paid for it. She's got way more followers.
She was paid for your content.
See, as a consumer, I would say, I don't look at people's followers counts. I actually don't give a crap.
I don't actually think it means anything.
It doesn't mean,
to be honest. And touching on that, I think that's a really good point to make, because I think it kind of leads back into, again, the misconceptions that people have about influencers. You know, sometimes you might trigger people. Sometimes you have to hold yourself accountable. I've said things before, and then when I've been educated by some of my followers, maybe a little bit more on the subject, I've gone, oh, hang on a minute, yeah, you're right, I'm so sorry about that. But you also get those people that will say to you, well, you put yourself out there, so therefore you should expect to be spoken to like this. And I don't think that that is right for anybody that puts themselves out there. Even, you know, we talk about celebrities. Just because a celebrity's out there doing movies or this, that, and the other, doesn't mean that they should be bad-mouthed, spoken to rudely.
They don't have feelings or emotions.
Names. We're all human beings, right?
Again, that's another reason that I kind of don't. It scares me going into that, because I see the comments, my goodness, on some, especially on TikTok, and the way people just attack and berate and like belittle and judge, the judging that goes on, you know. And I've been around tables in Dubai where the topic of influencer has come up, and people are judging. Like they talk. And
I would also
I
say
don't like it.
influencers are very judgy about each other as well. Like
Yeah.
I have sat in social, we have a little group, don't we? A very kind, lovely, sweet group where everybody bigs each
Yeah.
other up and it's lovely.
Yeah.
But I have been at tables where there are tables of influencers and
And they're all talking about each
it's
other.
like dog eat dog. It's actually horrible. I actually try not to go to those things.
Yeah, but
Do you know, it's funny, you get invited to influencer events, say it's for a big brand or something, not necessarily like a restaurant, but like, you know, to talk about a brand or brand awareness and things like that. And you might get invited and there might be 100 people invited and you go, and a lot of the time I find that you almost want to turn around and be like, do you know what? I really like that brand, but I might try and support you guys in another way because I don't think I am in the right headspace to put myself in the room of 100 people and to be wondering, oh, will they say hi to me? Or, you know, that kind of a thing. And
Being at school.
Yeah,
It is.
It's intimidating.
yeah,
Honestly.
it is.
it is. And being in media, I get invited to stuff sometimes that are like influencer heavy and I'm the odd one out. And I always feel a bit weird. I'm like, I don't know where I fit in here. And sometimes it does feel, I do get intimidated, even though I'm outgoing. And I don't stay for long. I don't feel like I'm wanted
I
or
often
welcome.
ask for a +1 or I'll be like, Helly, are you going?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm coming.
Yeah. If you've got a tag team person.
I would say it's actually more in fashion, like with the bridal fashion stuff, where I've been like a duck out of water. I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here? It feels so strange to me. But you know, it's interesting. I find the psychology behind it all quite fascinating as well. I'm always posting about the mind and how this works and stuff. But do you think that social media platforms do enough to protect content creators and
No.
influencers?
Not really.
There's actually a website called, I think you can say it, can't you? Tattle something.
Yeah.
And basically, if you go on it and type in any one of our names, it'll just be a thread of horrible things about those people.
Really?
And the people on there, I would actually say some of them I would say are probably quite dangerous.
Wait, is it a bit like Reddit? Reddit's
it's
a bit
worse.
like that.
This is awful. It will tear you apart, what you do, how you look, your parents, your family, your kids. It will say the
And
most
you're on
disgusting
there.
things.
Well,
Yeah, I had a while back. If you typed in the name, you could still see it, but thankfully I haven't had anything in a long time. But just over stupid stuff, like, you know, I feel like this was a couple of years ago. Mine was up there. It was just before, maybe it was just in COVID, and it was basically referring to, you know, oh, that's fine for them out in Dubai, you know, that kind of thing. You know, whereas they didn't realise, like, we went through we were very lucky here. Do not get me wrong. We were very lucky. Dubai government, very, very lucky. But we were still all trapped in our homes for a year, or, you know what I mean, or longer. So therefore you're kind of like, okay, well, we're all in the same position. But just because we had the sunshine and we have, you know, a lot of us have gorgeous back gardens, and so therefore you're not suffering at all. But they might not realise actually you've missed a family member's death because you can't fly home, or, you know, there's so exactly, you can't support people, or you can't even support a friend because we couldn't travel further than 15 minutes or whatever, you know. So, you know, there might have been somebody really struggling with something, you can't even get there to be a supportive friend. So
have a family around us.
we don't have our family, yeah. So I feel like these kind of pages, that's what it was about. It was tearing people down without realising the background of any of your stories, you know?
I didn't even know that existed, really.
Or it gets
and that
worse
is
on there.
just...
I actually refused about 6 years ago to ever go back on
Don't.
it. It's not worth
Yeah, and yeah, it's not, oh yeah, never look up your own name, or, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's,
Even talking about it, I'll be honest, irritates me because I
Sorry.
think it adds.
I didn't know it
because-
existed,
no,
yeah.
but I think it gives it a value.
Yeah.
And there's no value, and it gives it
Yeah.
airtime, and it just doesn't
Yeah.
deserve it. Those people don't deserve it.
But it just brings it back to the misconceptions, because you do say, you know, there are so many things out there that people aren't aware of. So yes, we do put ourselves out there, but it doesn't give anybody the right then to kind of eat away at you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And people, you know, without getting too deep, you know, people have taken their lives over this
People
sort
do.
of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, I've always been a big advocate for mental health, you know, and taking care of ourselves and each other.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's actually a good kind of segue into, there should be some kind of association or community group for, instead of competing and working against each other, and I know you girls don't compete, but something, do you know what I mean? Like a community, right? Like I've created one for the wedding industry. There should be something, right?
Yeah.
Where you're kind of, you're supporting one another in a way.
And it shouldn't be this walk into a room, 100 girls, and you can see that maybe over the last couple of months, they've all gone, women supporting women, and you know, we're all in this together and there's room for everyone. But then you walk into the room and they won't even say hi. Like, that's terrifying. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the other side of it, when you talk about how safe it is, I don't know about you guys, but some of the messages I get from guys,
Oh God.
some of the pictures I get from guys. I mean, I don't even think I can verbalise what happened to me a couple of weeks ago, but it's horrific. I mean, obviously, block, remove, goodbye.
Yeah.
But I've had guys that then refollow and create new accounts.
Oh, like stalkers.
And it can be quite scary.
Yeah.
It can be quite scary sometimes. I had one reel that went crazily viral. I think it had about 8 million views, which is
Wow.
mental. But the men that came from that, I was getting thousands of followers overnight, which never happens when you get like, I don't know, 10, maybe a couple more if you're lucky. But it got to the point I actually deleted the reel because the type of people that were coming, I was just like this. And every time someone added me and I saw it was a male with only a few followers, and you can tell by the like,
Or a private account.
yeah, I was
Just
like,
some dodgy
absolutely not.
bloke in his
Delete.
basement.
Yeah.
But again, that comes into kind of like there should be more out there to protect content creators. I think
I
definitely.
do think in Dubai we're quite lucky though. They do have a
Yeah.
cybercrime unit,
And they're
you
very
can
good with
report
women,
people, and
yeah.
they are very, very good at following up with it.
And I quite like the laws that they have around what you can post and videoing people and stuff. Actually, people give you know the UAE a lot of grief for that, but I actually really like that. I like that.
It is much needed, in fact, because I don't want my kids one day sitting in, let's say, a movie theater and somebody is busy with a TikTok and my kids are seen visibly in that video. So I do respect the laws. It's, you know, it's very good.
I'd want to do this in any other country if I'm truly honest.
Yeah.
Because I think you really are very open to all sorts. I mean, you see it in the news all the time, don't you?
And people can almost guess where you live, you know, things like that. So like, I feel safe doing it here, if I was back in Australia or Ireland, and if people knew, oh, she lives there, I don't think I'd feel comfortable with that at all.
You'd definitely be a little bit more kind of staid, I guess, with where you were filming, or maybe not outside your house or on the street, or
And it's not just confined to ladies. My cousin, guy in Dubai, Paris, if you're watching, he gets it. He gets from other guys all the time pictures sent to him, and he's like, I don't know why. I'm like, because you're a hot guy. He's like, but why isn't it the women sending me? It's the men. I'm like, well, I don't know. So, okay, we got a little bit heavy there, but what has been your biggest pinch me moment during this experience of content creation where something has really aligned and you've got an opportunity and you've been like, wow, I'm going to take this. I love this. I've had the best experience, or like a pinch me moment.
For me, actually, I wouldn't really give Instagram a credit for that. It happened when I launched my blog, and one of the international television channels came to know through somebody, because I have a very healthy recipe blog. And it was gluten-free recipes, raw recipes, things like that. So this was in 2017. So that was, of course, I was very happy to be featured on TV. And, when they put out my segment a week later, I had cousins in the US and aunts in Australia messaging me saying, oh, we saw you on TV, So that was pretty exciting for me because, to be out there, so that was quite a moment for me and I felt quite proud of myself. So, I wouldn't credit it as an influencer, but putting out, genuine content, whether it is your blog or whether it is your social media, that was an exciting moment for me.
Amazing.
That's cute.
Ladies, are you still waiting for the pinch me, or have you had the
maybe come pinch me, please. I think my pinch me's are not like massive pinch me's, but they're really kind of more wholesome things that happen. Like the first time you go out and maybe someone recognises you. And then I'd wished I'd not called myself Far From Fat because someone would scream across a bunch, Far From Fat, and I'm like, oh, just call me Charlotte.
I think people forget that's your name, to be honest. Everyone's just like, oh, Far From Fat. I'm like, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's funny. Or I think sometimes it's really small things, like when you maybe get the opportunity to do something and it's something that your kids love, so it's not necessarily something you want
Great
to
experience
do.
for your family.
And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, yes, Mum, thanks so much. I can't believe we're getting to do this. So I think it's sometimes just having those amazing experiences. Even when they're not necessarily something that you love, but you're able to give it to them. I think for me, I love that.
You can give your family a lot of amazing experiences, which is always a nice thing to do.
No, but I think it says a lot about all of us here, because I don't think any of us could link a pinch me moment to a brand. That means we're not pushing pushing out anything in a commercial way, but it's more of a personal level, isn't it? So yeah, I agree with her completely in that sense.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I feel like I've met some incredible people. I've met like people that I've followed for years, or, you know, like I am from that 90s generation that I worshipped the Spice Girls. And getting to meet a few of them was pretty incredible. But actually, it's the family things that would be my pinch me moments. So it's not about the lovely actors or actresses or, you know, things that you got to do in that way. It's more, you know, maybe getting to go to a lovely hotel for a weekend and just actually have that downtime with your family. One thing that came, and I will say, and it is more from what came from it, but it was just something that made my daughter so happy, was we work a lot with My Dubai, or Visit Dubai, Dubai Tourism. And one thing that they noticed was that she was an Irish dancer, so my 3 girls dance. And so my eldest got to dance with the river dance. Wow. So that was quite an experience at the time. It was the 2 brothers that do a lot. They're quite well known on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. So she got to have an experience, and that actually was a real pinch me moment, because it was really not about me, but it was more about the fact that she got to do something that she would massively, you know, love to tell people about, so it's all about our children, right? It's about what you can do with your kids, your family, you know, maybe a date night with your husband that maybe you would have never spent that money at that time. You know what I mean? And maybe now you'll go back because you appreciated it so much and you have the money to do it now. But back then maybe we didn't. So, you know.
Yeah, and you say about the husbands, that always makes me laugh, because I will always say that my husband is the worst photographer that you've ever met in your life. So that's why 9 times out of 10 I am still that selfie person, because he can't take a picture of me for love nor money. I don't even own a tripod. So nothing's curated. But when you slag them all the time. But actually, when you do get those things that's for them, so like, for example, we went to the golf the other week. I'm not a big golfer, like it's not for me. He was like, please do this, please, I'll take as many pictures as you want.
And you're like, oh, now you know how to work the camera.
Oh, now you can get my legs and my head in at the same time.
Yeah, all that time you were lying, my friend.
Yeah, but those things,
God.
I think they're the little pinch me moments.
Aww.
And almost you see that your husband's proud of you because you got that, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, that was me, pat myself on the back.
My wife, an influencer, and you're like, well, that's not what you say at home. Exactly. I'm a knob on the camera.
You ain't got that camera out again, have you? So if you were to give, we're rounding up now, if you were to give advice to anyone looking to perhaps, you know, maybe they've accidentally fallen into it, or they want to intentionally become a content creator / influencer, if you could give them a key bit of advice, what would that be?
Authenticity. Be true to yourself, do what you love, do what you believe in. Don't try to be anyone else or fake it. If people like you, they like you for you.
100% agreed, yeah.
That's a question I get often asked, in fact, by people who do have full-time jobs and they're interested in doing something over the weekend. And I do tell them that when it comes to content creation, understand your niche, you know, and understand the fact that there's a lot of work involved. It's not easy the way, you know, people think it's so easy. You can just put out stories, you can put out reels. No, you have to put a dedicated amount of time and effort if you want to rise as a content creator or as an influencer. You know, it's okay to do things in an organic way. It doesn't have to be curated, but it should not be fake.
Yeah.
That's what is important. It shouldn't be fake.
Yeah.
And don't go in it for the money.
Yeah.
Because it's really not there.
I would absolutely.
But it really is, it has to suit you, your family, you're only gonna end up judging yourself if you start putting out things that don't align with you. So just do it for just do it for fun and just see how it develops, you know?
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, I can't believe I didn't ask this earlier on, because even just like for me, making reels really stresses me out because I always get glitchiness happening. Do you?
I'm just absolutely rubbish at it.
I just want to throw my phone out the window. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I had a hissy fit. I posted an Instagram post. I'm stopping making reels. I'm moving to TikTok. I've had enough. You know, but then the viral videos I've had on TikTok have been nothing to do with me. It's my nan, my mother-in-law, 2.5 billion, and then I had loads of people being obsessed with my mother-in-law and wanting
Mum was a
content
cup
of
of
that.
coffee.
It's
A
random.
cup of
That's the
coffee.
thing with
Just a
TikTok.
cup of coffee telling you what coffee does to your body.
Yeah.
In a roundabout.
But
Far
then
from
you
that
feel,
way.
with TikTok, then you feel, because you don't know what's going to go viral. And then my nanny went viral, so I had a load of nannies following me, and I felt you feel pressure to start creating content for your new audience. It's really weird.
No, stick to you.
Yes,
That's when it's easy to get lost.
Me is you put out a reel putting in like 3 hours of edit, and that would get like some 5,000 views, and somebody has put out another reel of a second, 1 second, and it's blown up.
And it's the algorithm.
Exactly.
I've done some phenomenal reels where I'm like, I have nailed this.
Yeah.
Watch me ride.
Brilliant.
Absolute
Nothing.
flop.
Yeah.
And I have put other things out where I've been sat in the car, seen something funny. I'm like, oh my God, I could do that. I've got a great picture for that.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Brilliant.
oh
And
my
it's
God,
like,
look at
wow.
Yeah.
I think that kind of
all the time. I'm like, there's stuff that you put out there and you think, oh, I just put that up because I just put it up for me because it was funny or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's millions of views later. And then the content, you're like, I really want that to do well because I put a lot of time and effort into it. And I want
in it as
I believe in it, and I want the brand to do well. And it might not even be a paid thing. It just might be a brand that's taking off. I feel like, and I know Charlotte's the same as well, but like, supporting local businesses in Dubai, like I love
so much of that.
yeah, for nothing, just because you want them to do well, and if they're nice to you, obviously you can, and it's worth saying, some people come at you and say, oh, you support small businesses, so can you just throw that up for me? And I'm like,
Don't get me started on this.
yeah.
Because now, as being a brand owner
I feel
myself,
like we need another
on
hour of
the other
chatting.
side of the
like, can I get your clothes for free? Do you get a lot of that?
free,
Yeah.
influencers are not real influencers, I have now learned.
Yeah.
So many have fake followers, no engagement,
So many
fake
fake
lives,
lives. Yeah.
absolute pile of rubbish.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
people that I genuinely actually was like, oh,
Yeah.
nothing. I've had people with like 300,000-400,000 put on the sweats and
It's
not a
live.
single follow, nothing. And what I can't stand, and this has happened so many times, and now I actually rate myself a little bit higher than I did before as an influencer. So many people you send gifting to and they don't post your stuff.
What?
Yeah, they don't post it. So they ask for it, you
Oh my
send
God,
them
I'm
stuff.
so excited
and
when
they
I get
don't
sent
post it.
something. I'm like, I feel it's the.
I email them back, I go, do you want to send that back to me?
Yes,
If you don't like it or you don't believe in it, no, I like it. And then I see them posting it and not tagging, or a blind tag.
How does that make sense? That's so weird.
Do you know what? It's so silly. Like, if you have the opportunity to share something for someone and to help them do better,
And you want it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's also why influencers have got a bad reputation because of this handful.
I just tag people anyway. I don't care if it's free or not. If I like it, I'll tag it.
Yeah, me too.
Another flip side of it is though, and I don't know how we didn't even, all of us kind of didn't think about this, I suppose, but overconsumption sometimes. So not something like a small brand like Charlotte has created a gorgeous brand and you want to get it out there, but we'll say PR companies that don't tell you something's coming and something arrives at the door and it doesn't maybe fit with your niche. And it's something that I'm like, oh, somebody else could have used this or put value into it, or
I have messaged people before and gone, you've sent me this, I'm going to be true. I'll tell you what it was. It was a candle in a teapot.
Okay.
The teapot was very kitsch. My house is black and white. There is not a piece of colour or antique in the house.
Yeah.
So this teapot candle has come. It smells like we and old people. It was just
Not ideal.
not ideal. Everything about it was awful, and I didn't know it was coming. And I've no idea where you've got my address from, which is irritating me as well, because it's come direct from a company, so someone's obviously given it to you.
Yeah.
So I very politely said, look, thank you so much for sending this. However, I like to be told
Informed,
or asked if I would
prepared.
like to receive something.
Yeah.
And I don't want it, but I also feel it's an absolute waste because I'm going to bin that.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't
what a
gift it to
shame.
someone either. Please come and pick it up.
Yeah.
Well,
Did they give you a
wow.
hard time?
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're the bad content creator or influencer because you've said,
Because I don't want to post something. Or the flip side is the amount of people that then will message, like, you have your hidden inbox. Mine is
Yes.
full of requests.
Yeah.
Can you post this? Can you do that? Can you share this? I need you. Post this for me. Like, very aggressive. No pleases. No.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. Hey, can you do this? What's with the hay?
How are you?
Yeah,
Really enjoy
hi,
your
how are
content.
you?
We've got a
Yeah.
wonderful product that we feel
Which is
will.
quite frustrating.
Yeah. Let's have a chat. Can we jump on a call or whatever? Like, why?
But there's none of that, Rio.
There needs to be a lot of education.
But then when you find they're not following you,
oh,
that is a real pet peeve for me. So you want me to post something, you want me to tell everyone about your business, but you don't follow me and you don't follow my business. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, thank you, not for me.
Yeah. Good for you. There needs to be, I feel like there needs to be more conversations about this between PR companies, the brands, and the content creators.
Absolutely.
Like transparent conversations. Because there's no real, I don't know how to explain it. There's
But I also think at home you have, like you said, you have a lot of influencer agencies,
Yeah.
whereas you don't have that so much. It's more PR agencies here. So those people that I would say are genuine influencers as well, it's hard for them because you get missed as an influencer because they'll see someone else that's got way more following and people just assume, well, that's where I should be going with my money or my budget, or that's who should be selling my stuff. And then I feel bad for the brands as well, because I've spoken to so many of them where they've gone, oh my God, we paid that person X amount and we got nothing.
We've got nothing, yeah.
And you sit there and you think, yeah, because look at their followers. Their followers have got no followers. They're bots. They're not real people. Their likes are not real. Or you look at the engagement and you go into like the comments and, you know, there might be 3,000 likes on a picture, but there's 10 comments.
Yeah, or they're part of a
Not real.
a loop. Oh yeah, social loops. Yeah. I mean, I've tried that before. I don't know, it wasn't for me.
I don't know enough people to be in one.
Yeah.
I think you can tell because it's always, you'll see on people's like.
But I
certain
tried it
people-
from one of my brands because the wedding industry was struggling because brides engage a lot in stories. So but I don't know, they're shy or they're like, it's difficult. The wedding industry is a weird niche. So I thought I would try. Someone invited me. We're supporting each other, and I tried it, but then it just didn't. It felt icky. I felt like I was
taking it.
Yeah, it just felt icky because it's like I can't explain it. It's like, you know, and also I don't want loads of brands commenting on a post. I want brides.
Yeah.
Surely that's obvious, right? Yeah, that it's obvious. So yeah, it wasn't for me.
But you can also tell because it's then always the same brands
And
commenting
all
on
the
it, and you're
same
like,
people on each other's posts, always.
So you're not really building anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I think it comes back to be less, but be authentic. And have the real
I'd
people
rather
that
have
want
3
you.
people that actually care.
20 likes rather than 500,000, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get caught up on the whole kind of likes and, you know, like we've all been there. You post something, doesn't do well, doesn't feel great. But I think people do, whether you're an influencer or not, you place a lot of value on, oh my God, am I getting engagement? But then you do get that inbox from that one person who's like, yeah, made a difference to me, or I bought that. You know.
And that's the best way to look at it. Like, look at the positives that came out of that day. Like,
I had a hilarious experience. It was in 2021 October when I posted about, it was post-COVID.
Do you even remember the month? I don't even know what I had.
Always remember the dates, the time.
so they no idea.
Because there aren't too many examples. Okay, so this was post-COVID, and you know, the industry had just opened, everything was just opening in Dubai. And I posted about a random buffet in Deira. And a month later, I remember the post was very popular, lots of over 300 comments. A month later, when my friends and I decided, let's go dine there. And I called and they're like, you know, madam, the place is fully booked for the next 2 months. And I'm like, are you kidding? Oh yeah, somebody said that there was a post, so there are a lot of people coming here. And I'm like, okay, that's me.
That's a pinch me.
Yeah, but the thing is, I couldn't get a table myself.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah.
So what was that, the gatekeeping?
Good case study, girl. You need to put that in your media kit.
Oh, but then that makes me laugh because you're so much better than anyone else. The amount of times you got a media kit, I was like, no, what's a media kit? She was like, what? I was like, she was like, you don't have one? I was like, no. She was like, rate cards? Like, no, but I can make one. Just give me an example.
Yeah, what do I do?
Do you know, but that's the traditional media side. They always ask for our media kit, so I just assume influence.
And I hate that word rate card. I mean, okay, projecting myself with rates, oh my God.
Yeah. Some of them come with like a full script. I'm like, I don't do scripts.
No.
Or they give you a scene or a scenario and I'm like, I can't do that either.
Yeah.
You're going to get whatever I give you.
Yeah.
Because that's how I do it.
This is how I roll.
Yeah.
And the brands that respect that will work with you, and the
They'll
ones
always
that don't,
be-
they're
yeah.
not for you. That's
Yeah.
it, really.
Back in the day, it was only a picture in Instagram, and that's it. But now it has gone beyond that. You've got stories, you've got reels, you need a Google review, you need TripAdvisor. There is a massive list, and now they even say that we will have our agency shooting you. And I'm like, okay, that kind of comes under the modeling segment.
Yes.
You know?
So how much would you pay a model to go in and do that? You know what I mean?
This is where I think it's okay, and I think women have an issue with this in particular, in asking for money and getting paid,
No
right?
fee, no me.
Right? There's a balance, isn't there? There's things you do for free, there's barters. But then, genuinely, when there is a business opportunity that aligns with you,
Yeah.
it's okay to get paid for it. You're doing
Absolutely.
a job.
You don't
You know?
go to your normal job for free,
Yeah,
do you?
exactly. It's okay.
You're looking at your time. What is your time worth?
And
Away
as long
from my
as there's-
family, friends, husband, whatever it might be.
Exactly, and as long as there's a level of transparency as well, because I do think that's important.
Yeah.
Because what I don't like is when
So I
people.
won't charge you for Thailand. I'd be happy just to come with you.
Yeah, I think I'll just join that as well.
I think
She's a bag.
believe me, I'm still trying to work on this thing. It will happen. To round things up, ladies, honestly, I think we've had a great chat today. I've personally learned a lot from you girls, and I really respect your honesty as well. So I appreciate that. But to round it up, I want to know what is next for all three of you. Is there anything in the pipeline? Any projects that you're working on? I know you've recently launched your business. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But what's next for all of your blogs and pages?
Well, I'm pretty organic, so I just plan a month ahead. I'm very happy that one of the things, thanks to Instagram, I have some beautiful friends. I've made some beautiful friends, and we do uplift each other. You know, it's very important to stay connected with these kind of friends to stay a bit sane.
Yeah.
Kelly?
Yeah, I massively agree. Like the friendship groups that I've gained from having an Instagram is really lovely. And I think sometimes people probably think that you're not actually friends with those people. They're just like, you're Insta friends. So, you know what I mean? But no, they're friends. Like we hang out, we have a great time together, we go enjoy meals together, things like that. But looking forward to the peace and the calmness that it brings in the UAE.
Yeah.
Looking forward to maybe a few little trips, a few cheeky staycations, and yeah, just Thailand maybe.
Things to look forward to. I am not a planner, so even the fact that you said you plan a month ahead, I mean, I'm lucky if I plan a couple of days ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, just what you see is what you get. I tend to
Yeah.
go and work remotely for a few weeks back at home with friends and family. So yeah, I don't think I've got anything massive coming up or anything huge planned. And obviously, no, not really. No, just trying to think if there was something then, but no.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you. I hope you enjoyed the chat.
Loved it.
And maybe we'll do another one soon. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Rio and Friends with We Share TV. If you enjoyed today's segment, please make sure you like, share and follow and leave a comment below. Thank you.